All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a mission to take one of Delphi's most used components, the TWebBrowser, and turn it from something that's just okay into an absolute high-performance engine, especially when you're building for Android.
So if you're building for Android, does this sound familiar? You drop a TWebBrowser onto your form, you expect it to be smooth, but instead, you get lag. It eats up memory. The whole thing just feels off. It's a super common pain point, but guess what? We can totally fix it.
Look, your users have really high expectations. They're used to native Chrome on their phones. It's fast, it's responsive, but the out-of-the-box experience in our apps, well, it often doesn't even come close. The UI can stutter when pages are loading, and it really struggles with modern web apps. Let's change that narrative.
Okay, first things first. To speed this thing up, we have to pull back the curtain and understand what TWebBrowser really is, because spoiler alert, it's kind of an illusion.
This is so important to get. The TWebBrowser component itself, it doesn't actually draw any pixels on your form. Think of it like a window cut out of your app. Your Delphi code is basically telling Android, hey, see this hole? Shove your real native browser engine right on top of it. Understanding that it's just a wrapper is the key to unlocking its true power.
So now we know there's this powerful, native Android component just hiding underneath our app. The big question is, how do we talk to it? How do we access all those juicy, low-level settings? Well, we need to cross a bridge.
And that bridge is called the JNI, the Java Native Interface. It's the official pathway that lets our compiled Delphi code chat directly with the Android operating system and all its native goodies, like that web view. This is incredibly powerful. It gives us access to APIs that are completely hidden from the standard Delphi component. But, and this is a big but, this power comes at a price.
Yeah, this quote says it all. Every single time your Delphi code calls a native Android function across that bridge, there's a tiny little performance tax, a marshalling cost. A few calls here and there, no big deal. But if you're doing it constantly, those little taxes add up and your app can grind to a halt. We have to be smart about it.
So, what's the reward for carefully crossing this bridge? We get the keys to the kingdom. We get direct access to the native engine's control panel, where we can fine-tune its behavior for maximum speed.
This is where the magic really happens. Using JNI, we can get our hands on the native JWeb settings object. This lets us mess with things like caching policies and DOM storage, settings that are absolutely critical for performance, but are totally hidden from the standard TWebBrowser properties in the IDE. This is how we start supercharging.
Okay, check this out. See that one in bold, load cache else network? This is basically the secret weapon. The default mode is polite. It asks the server if the cache is still good. But this mode, it says, I don't care. Use the cache first, always. Only go to the network if you absolutely have to. The result? Pages feel like they load instantly. It's a massive, massive win.
All right, besides caching, there are two more things that are pretty much mandatory today. First, you have to enable DOM storage. Modern web apps just break without it. It's not optional anymore. And second, double-check your app's manifest and make sure hardware acceleration is turned on. You want the phone's GPU doing that heavy rendering work, not the CPU.
Okay, so our web content is flying now. Awesome. But if it's sitting inside an app shell that's stuttering and slow, the whole experience still feels slow, right? So now it's time to add a turbocharger to the entire app.
And that turbocharger is Skia. If you haven't heard of it, Skia is the graphics engine that Google uses to power Chrome and Android itself. Yep, the entire operating system. And with Rad Studio 12, we can just flip a switch and have this powerhouse render our entire Delphi app.
And the difference is not subtle, it's night and day. Your buttons, your labels, your animations, everything goes from looking a bit jagged to being perfectly smooth and crisp. It makes your entire application just feel higher quality.
So what kind of performance boost are we talking about here? Well, just by flipping that one switch to enable Skia, you can see up to a 50% increase in your app's overall graphics performance. That's a huge bump for a single line of code.
But wait, it gets even crazier. In some tests, developers saw their frame rates jump from around 300 frames per second to 3,000. That is a 10-fold increase. What this means is that the UI shell around your browser will stay buttery smooth, no matter how busy that web content gets.
All right, let's put all the pieces together. You can see this isn't about one single magic bullet. It's a recipe, a complete, multi-layered strategy for building a seriously high-performance experience.
So here's your 4-step blueprint. Step 1, the foundation.
Make sure hardware acceleration is on in your manifest. Step 2, use that JNI bridge to get in there and set that aggressive caching mode. Step 3, flip the switch on Skia to make your whole app UI fly. And Step 4, a crucial pro tip, always navigate the browser to about blank before you destroy the form. It's a little memory management trick that helps prevent nasty resource leaks.
So there you have it. By digging a little deeper, by not being afraid to cross that JNI bridge, and by leveraging amazing tech like Skia, you can stop thinking of TWebBrowser as just some simple component. You can turn it into a powerhouse. You've got the blueprint. Now the only question is, what are you going to build with it? Thanks for tuning in.